Good afternoon. Thank you so much for coming to the Smart Home Talk. The goal here is really to give you guys a little bit of understanding and background on how do you connect the IoT device to Google Assistant so that you can allow that device to be controlled by the Google Assistant. I'm Mark Spates. I am the product lead for Smart Home and the Google Assistant. This is David Shire, kind of my partner in crime. He's the engineering lead for Smart Home on the Google Assistant. I think when you start to look at some of the things that are happening in this space, it's really clear that having an assistant-controlled physical space is going to be extremely important moving forward. So when we start to look at Smart Home and the Google Assistant, it was clear that this was a feature that we had to have when Google Home launched last year. The feature has become a pillar of the Google Home experience and what users come to expect when they're interacting with the Assistant. The other thing is the IoT market, which you guys have heard 1,000 times. It's like one of the biggest buzzwords of like the last 3 years. It's actually finally to happen. And the assistants are part of that, right? That are driving this interaction with these devices. So for us, we knew that there was a unique opportunity for the Google Assistant as it relates to the smart home space. Just basic numbers. These are the numbers that you guys have seen 1,000 times, right? IoT is growing, and there's a whole bunch of devices. But I just want to look at 2017. There's 8.4 billion connected devices, and out of that, you have 5.2 that are actually consumer segment devices. This is huge. This means that having that physical thing in the space that's connected to the cloud is actually at a big enough penetration rate that having the assistant control it actually makes sense to a user. And those devices are super diverse, right? You have things from cars and lights and fans and robot vacuums. I mean, I just got a connected sous vide machine delivered to my desk so I can test when I barbecue this weekend. But that's how far we've come. Everything will be connected, and if it's connected, it should be controlled at some level by the assistant. The next thing that we really start to look at is where does the assistant play in this user interaction? And for us, it was always the assistant will be at the center of these intelligent interactions with these IoT devices. And we put the word intelligent in there for a specific reason. Today, a lot of the ways that we control these things are simple on and off switches. They're actually not intelligent. You're simply sending an on-off command and the thing goes on and off, but it doesn't take into consideration context, device type, and all these things that a user will come to expect. Which got us to this point in our development, and we said it's about conversations, not about commands. And this is a core philosophy that our team looks at, and we make product decisions and engineering decisions based on this philosophy. A user should be able to say multiple things to a device, right? Not just turn this device on, but if you look at a light and all the vast commands you can give it just to simply control it, it's amazing. So you can change the color, you can turn them on and off, you can do things like make the bedroom brighter. Imagine yourself sitting there with your spouse or your roommate or your best friend. Think about all the ways that you tell that person to turn the light on or control the light. It's extremely different if you're talking to your mom versus your girlfriend versus your boyfriend. All these things we need to be able to understand so we can do what the user wants. So to do this, we had to get context. We have to understand things like what is in the home? What are the rooms in the home? Who is in the home? This is the key reason our team decided to create the Google Home Graph. The Google Home Graph stores and provides the contextual data about the devices in the homes to the Google Assistant. Now, this may sound very similar. You've heard these things, right? There's knowledge graph, there's a graph for this, there's a graph for that. But actually, the home is one of the last frontiers. If you look at yourself in your day-to-day, if you walk out of here, we pretty much know that you got a mobile phone, this is your GPS locations, and this is where you are. Soon as you walk in the home, a lot of us know that you walked in the home, but we have no idea what happens after that. Are you in a living room? Are you in the bedroom? Are you watching TV? Your phone may be in the basement. You may be upstairs. We have to have better contextual understanding of the home to have a really good experience. So let's break down the home graph really quickly, right? We look at it as properties. And there's kind of 3 big sets of properties, and under there's a lot of things that kind of build upon these properties. So there's a structure. That structure has an address, it has managers, it has rooms, it has labels, right? Then you have rooms, because rooms are very specific. What I do in the bedroom and what I do in the living room, saying the exact same thing can be totally different in the context, right? So you have to understand where you actually are in the home. And there's devices. Devices are extremely unique, and we have to know what type of device is it, what are the capabilities of the device, what are the attributes, what's the current state. And the reason is there are situations like this. Let's go back to my example. If you're sitting on the couch and you say, dim the lights in the living room a little bit, that's a super complex command or conversation to even have with someone that's sitting right next to you. So using a home graph, this is what we do. We first say, are there any lights in the living room? Basic question. Okay, yeah, there's some lights in the living room. Next, are those lights currently on? Okay, the lights are on, that's awesome. What are they set to? Oh, these lights are on and they're set to 50%. What does a little bit mean? Well, in this case, a little bit may mean 3%. It's a default thing that we put in there. We support things like little bit, we support a lot. Our interns put hella in there because they're from California. But you have to know how to increment based on those words, right? So we say, oh, it's a little bit, we're gonna increment by 3. We take that data, we package it up, and we pass it to the Google Assistant, and then the Assistant says, all right, got it. I will change these lights from 50% to 53%. That's how the data from Home Graph is actually being used in real time. But it was awesome as we were building this, and we were saying to ourselves, I think we've stumbled upon what's going to unlock this market for everyone when it comes to controlling devices in the house. So we have to get this to developers. How do we allow developers to build interactions that leverage Google Assistant in the home graph? So today I'm really excited to introduce Smart Home Apps. Smart Home Apps is an experience that you can build using Actions on Google. I'm sure you guys have heard tons about Actions on Google. It is the greatest thing ever. It is my favorite platform Google's made. But it's going to be the way that we go from this being an early adopter platform to everyone in this audience being able to hook up something to the Assistant, leverage the home graph, and control it in a very conversational way. But that's enough about me talking. I think for most of you want to see how do you actually build one of these things. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to David to give you guys the developer experience.
Thanks, Mark. So as Mark said, most of you have probably seen Actions on Google by now. If you haven't, you should definitely read up. Actions on Google is our new platform to let you extend the Assistant directly to your applications, to your services, and in this case, to your hardware. So we've brought, with this launch, we're bringing smart home devices into the Actions on Google platform. We let you register your devices directly to the home graph. And rather than have the Actions on Google model where you talk to your app, it changes voice, you interact conversationally, you can now have direct actions that directly communicate with your devices and everything else in the home. So if you have lights, you register your lights to the user's living room. The user says, turn on my lights in the living room. It turns on your lights. It turns on other vendors' lights. It works seamlessly. It's a descriptive grammar that lets the user interact naturally. One of my coworkers likes to say, no one wants a light bulb that asks too many questions. So our system is designed for those one-shot, single actions. Fire and forget, everything just works. How do we do this? So you guys, you're folks that are building hardware, building smart home devices, light bulbs, thermostats, ovens, sous vide machines, microwave sprinklers, whatever. You're building great hardware. We want to make it really easy to keep building great hardware. You provide a very lightweight cloud infrastructure on top of what you're already doing. You've already got cloud control for these devices. Add in OAuth, which you all know, some basic device sync, execution, and data integration protocols. All of these are stock, JSON, trivial stuff to implement. And then we can add on top of that all of the stuff that Google's good at. The natural language understanding, the speech generation, the personality, the home graph that Mark talked about, internationalization and context and error management and all of these sort of complex schemas of what does it mean to be a washing machine and how do users interact with washing machines. We apply learning, we apply a lot of our AI to these engines, so they keep getting better, and everything we improve, you get the improvements on as well. We basically integrate in 2 ways. We have a flow for device setup, we have a flow for execution. This is the setup flow. Very simple. Once you've registered, I'm going to show you all of this end to end. Once you've registered, you simply, your app shows up in our list of smart home apps. A user clicks on it. We send them off to you for OAuth registration. You do whatever else you want in that flow, come back to us, we send a request for the devices, you give us all the devices that user has, any data you want. It's a simple JSON protocol. They have 17 lights, they're called these things, they're in these rooms, and they have these traits associated with them, what have you. That's a full sync each time, so you don't need to do Delta state management, we do all that for you. We take that stuff, we put it in the home graph. Then, at execution time, we use our assistant stack to do all the heavy lifting. We've gotten your state from your devices. We know what those things are called, again, what their capabilities are. We feed that into our real-time speech recognition engine. So if a user has named their light something weird, we understand it. They have a chandelier in their gazebo, that's just fine. So speech recognition knows it. Natural language understanding knows it. The smart home engine knows it. So all that stuff lets us then build the exact execution and query semantics that we give you. We feed those to you. You do your task. Again, simple JSON, HTTPS stuff. Away we go. We generate the TTS, the text response and speech response to the user, and it works. We have built some basic device types. We're building a lot more device types over the coming weeks and months. These device types are composed of traits. Traits are really where functionality occurs. So you have a trait, the simplest trait ever, on/off. It means this device has a switch. Those traits then are made of attributes, states, and commands. On/off is pretty simple. No attributes. One state. I bet you can guess what it is. Pretty much one command that just is turning things on and off. That trait then can be composited into whatever devices you want to make. Right now, what we've launched publicly, those are on lights and switches and thermostats and the like. You build a robot, you can reuse that trait and make your robot have an on/off trait. Generally speaking, all your robots should have an on/off trait. Highly recommended. Otherwise, problems occur. So you'll be able to build, as we roll out more and more traits, you can composite your own device types of whatever you want. Maybe it's a clock radio that has clock functionality, radio functionality, and other stuff. Maybe it's that robot that combines custom or standard traits that we have, plus custom traits that you build. We're releasing custom traits soon, where you can build your own features on top of this platform. I'm going to walk through the demo. It's really simple. We're going to do this in 6 steps. We're going to register your project in the Actions on Google platform. We're going to set up OAuth. We're going to implement your smart home app. I'm going to cheat there a little bit. You're going to use this gAccents command line tool to test that package. And once you do that, we're going to go to the real app, production level, nothing googly, nothing special, production level assistant app in home control, connect to your app, set up your devices, and then start talking to them. So let's start the demo. Great. So this is the Actions on Google console. You may have played with this already. This is the new console we launched yesterday. I'm going to create a project, give it some name. Doesn't really matter for here. I'm going to call it Sheep Project. See if it lets me do that. This will take a few seconds. What we're doing here is creating the project inside the Actions on Google system, so it's assigning a project ID, giving you all the tools you need to build this. Now, you may have seen some of the API AI discussions that we had earlier today. We actually today are not using API AI for the smart home stuff because we've written all the grammar. You don't need to write any grammar for these actions. We provide it for you. So we use the Assistant SDK, or Actions SDK. We skip reading the docs because we're developers. And let's go and set up the app information. Now, a lot of the stuff on this page, honestly, we don't need for home automation for smart home projects. But we're going to fill it out anyway because currently the application here wants it. Like, for example, the assistant voice, because everything you do here runs as a native Google app, It's running native understanding. We can use the natural voice. We don't need to change the voice and make it feel jarring. So we'll just say home control demo, full description demo. We don't really care. Category, let's pick home control down here at the bottom. And what did I miss? To control some stuff. Obviously, and when you do this for real, since eventually this will be going to build in your registry item, you'll want some real text there. Now it's asking for icons, same thing. I'm going to load up some dummy ones. And eventually these will be used when you submit your app. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Away we go. Testing instructions we can skip. My entity is called Sheep Company. Let's not think about this too hard. And feel free to spam me there. Oops. Privacy policy. Just a dummy URL for now. And it will think, great. We've now created our project. We have one more thing to do. Number 2 on that list, account linking. So let's add some account linking. Authorization code, standard OAuth. Let me go and grab my keys here. Now these are the standard keys in the demo app that we have put on GitHub. Please do not use these OAuth keys in your actual app. I should not have to tell you why. Now I'm just going to set this up. Now I'm using a stock Debian instance here, right off the shelf. Signed it up on the node the other day, so I'm not doing anything funky. Testing instructions. Demo. OAuth should now be set up. Now, over here, I have, this is our stock example app. And all I'm going to do is start this up. You'll see this is sitting behind an Nginx proxy, standard SSL stuff. So not running now. Start this running. Away we go. Now when I load this, I should be able to go here, and please don't hack into my demo while I'm doing it. Blam. Now, this is I know I shouldn't have said that. You're doing it now. When the lights start going on crazy, I know it's one of you. This is our example app. We've shipped this app for testing out the application. These are virtual lights. We actually use this in our own development because I can't get 100 light bulbs at my desk. People complain. So when we need to do scale testing, we tend to do it with virtual devices. So I can turn those on and off, set these up for cloud registration. Now, I now have an app running. My next step, I'm going to hop over here, and I am going to find the action. We have this gactions command here, which simply, oops. This it takes the action. Actually, before I do that, let me show you the action package. So you may have seen action packages in other demos that have lots and lots of stuff in them. Ours is really simple. That's all there is. You put the URL you use for execution in there, execution in sync. Everything else is stock. And then I can run this. I can go and grab my project ID, which happens to be easily right here. And if I didn't forget something because I'm on stage, I can do that. And of course, it will ask me to update while I'm on stage, because apps know when you're on stage. Skip that. Pushing the app. Now, it should be live. I'm going to go over here to the phone. Oops. Here on the phone, we start the assistant. Go into settings. Home control. I have no devices. Plus, there's my app. So my app that I just created and I just ran is now available just like all of our production partners here. And I click on that app, and I now have to type this, which you'll probably see. Whoops. Yeah. Please hack in. I should have put it in a paste buffer. All right, if I did that right, I got OAuth, linking my devices, and then these 4 lights that I put up here are now available on the phone. I'm going to skip rooms because I don't really care about that right now. And I can say, go back to the assistant, turn on all my lights.
Sure, turning 4 lights on.
All right. 2 of those decided to get knocked off the cloud. If they weren't on the cloud, turn on all my lights. And there go the other ones. Make my lights green. So pretty simple stuff. We have lots of other device types, thermostats, more complex things. This is the base case. And you saw, yes, I did cheat. We have a little Node.js instance over here. But that's all it takes. So with that, I will turn it back to Mark.
Awesome. Great demo, David. That was awesome. So you go and crush it like David just did. You build your stuff in like 36 hours, and you're ready to go. But there's still a couple more things you have to do to launch it. First, send me a device, because I have to test it. But then, once you send the device over to Google, and you deploy your action, we will then do a certification process. And the certification process is really simple. We do have a few testers go through, test basic things, latency, make sure that the policies and privacy things are correct. And then once that's all done, we say, all right, this looks really good, and this is ready to go to production after we certify it, and then we launch it into production. So it's a really simple process. We are making sure that the experience that the end user is getting is really good, so that's where the certification process comes in, just to make sure things like the right grammars work and the right expectations around latency are set. We have a bunch of partners who've been working with us. They've helped us build this process. And we are super excited because they've helped us learn a lot about what we can do better. But more importantly, I think the rapid pace in which we've been adding smart home integrations has been amazing. We started with 3 integrations. In the keynote, you heard our team say we have 70 now. And we did most of those in the last 6 weeks using this process. So we're extremely excited to open this up to everyone so we can go even faster. So you may say, like, what's next? The first thing is everyone leave here, don't go to the concert, go build a smart home app. Then go to the concert, right? But there's other things that you may want to check out. There are going to be more device support, more features, and all that coming in the next couple months, as David said. Also, all these integrations are on display in some of the sandboxes. So if you go to the Assistant sandbox, if you go to IoT sandbox, you see a lot of these things already on display, and it's running in production, which is awesome. And the last one is that we work really closely with the Assistant SDK team. So if you're thinking about how do I actually embed the Assistant into my device, you should check out the Assistant SDK.